Okay, so we've started the recording. And I think we can take the picture now since we won't be sharing.
Yeah.
We wanted to highlight this session on our social media. If you're comfortable, if you can, like, can you turn on your camera or like do a little reaction so that we can take a picture of it and then showcase like everyone that's here. We can do a small recap on our socials. Um, yeah, so anyone who would like to turn on their camera or do a reaction, we'd really appreciate it. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and take it now. Is everyone ready? Okay, one, two, three. Okay, I'm gonna do one more since I see a couple more coming off camera, I think, and more reactions. Okay, one, two, three. Okay, cute. Okay, one last one. So show your reactions, everyone. Okay, one, two, three. Okay, yay! Cute. Thank you, everyone. You're welcome to stay on camera or go off camera, however you'd like. Now we're gonna go ahead and share our presentation. So we're gonna do an overview of what MEHKOs is. We'll share an overview of the movement and what has been going on here in Orange County with MEHKO, how you can support the MEHKO movement, and then also open up the space for any questions, any thoughts if you want to share, a little bit of like what your journey has been. But we want to also give you all the opportunity to share as much as you'd like. We do have a hard stop at 5 because we have some other programming going on today. But we hope to make this, a movement and it's not just like a 2-day meeting. Hopefully we can reconvene and think of other strategies. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and pull up the presentation.
Joanna, just quickly a tech thing. If I want to record it in Spanish, do I need to change the interpretation on my end to Spanish?
Alicia had said no, but no.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and share. Okay. Resent. Resent. Okay. And then Gabby, for now as I'm sharing my screen, if like there's any comments or questions in the chat, if you can just like let me know of them.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're here to learn about MEHKOs, which is Microenterprise Home Kitchen Operations, providing inclusion, incubation, and innovation. And then you'll see in the corner the Cook Alliance logo. They're another organization that has been working on bringing MEHKOs to California, and we're in a cohort with them, and we're bringing other organizations here in Orange County so that it can happen. But for today's presenters, it's going to be myself. I'm the Community Engagement and Advocacy Manager. I'm super excited to be here in community with you all. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and then I'll pass it over to Gabby.
Thank you, Joanna. My name is Gabby Bruffman. I work as the Data and Operations Strategy Manager for CIELO. I recently just changed positions. I have had a lot of experience working and consulting with our entrepreneurs and clients. So have heard a lot about, from our clients with their food businesses. So that's kind of where I'll be coming in today from.
Yay. Okay. And so for those of you who don't know who CIELO are, some of you do already know who we are, but we are a nonprofit here in Orange County, but we don't just solely serve Orange County. We have worked with other individuals in LA County and beyond. But we officially launched in 2016 and we help individuals launch their small business. We have our 6-week startup program, which you learn like the business fundamentals, like access to capital, what a DBA is, etc. We also have a childcare incubator program for individuals who want to have an in-home childcare center, and that's through the non-licensed and licensed route. And we have monthly workshops where we bring in like industry leaders on specific um, like sessions. We are having some on self-care these coming months with Ocapica and Groundswell. So we're super excited. So as we know, as a small business owner, you're impacted in all different areas of your life. So we want to be able to meet you all in every way possible. And then we also provide access to capital. So we do offer some micro grants through our small business startup program and some childcare stipends, as well as access to non-traditional micro lending through CDFIs. We have Accessity. They just did a little post on social media if you want to go check it out. And like TMC and others. So those are like the services that we provide. And the presentation that I'll be showcasing here is in English, but if you want to access it in Spanish, go ahead and like scan this QR code. If not, can you share the link on the chat, Gabby? Um, or yeah, okay, and then we'll link it on the chat so that you're able to also follow us with it. And all the slides in Spanish and English are the same, so you guys you'll be able to access them. So I'll give it just one more minute so that in case you need to do the Spanish version, you have time to do that.
Can you remind for those that maybe came in late about how to access the Spanish translation with Alicia?
Oh, yes. So for the Spanish translation, there's going to be a world icon on the bottom right corner. And you're going to go ahead and click on that and then click on the Spanish availability. And Alicia is listed on there. Para los que necesitan la traducción al español, hay un icono de como, how do you say world? Um,
Mundo?
un mundo abajo en la derecha. Y si le haces clic, ahí vas a poder acceder la traducción en español con Alicia. Okay. We can move forward. Okay. So I'm gonna pass it over to Gabby, who's gonna give us an overview of what the MEHKO movement has been looking like so far.
Yes. So, thank you everyone for being here and for being interested about MEHKO. So, MEHKO stands for Micro Enterprise Home Kitchen Operation. And so it's a type of way in which a food business can operate. There are many different examples. The more common one we know is like a restaurant having their own space, right? But a MEHKO is a type of operation or a way to run a food business. And so there are certain, with MEHKO, there are a lot of different benefits and things that we'll get into, right? But MEHKO is not currently, it's not, something that is allowed in multiple, places around California. There are some counties that allow it and some that don't allow it. Orange County is one that currently is not, a part of the MEHKO movement or a part of the MEHKO project. So what that means is that if a person who has a food business wants to use their home kitchen in a way that's similar to a commercial kitchen, that as a MEHKO, like that would not be permitted here in Orange County, but it is permitted currently in Los Angeles, in San Diego, and Riverside counties, right? And so for us, all of the entrepreneurs here in Orange County, MEHKO not being permitted is, brings some obstacles for those food businesses, just starting out and wanting to work their way into growing their food business. And so what CIELO has been doing is we've been, learning more about MEHKO, and then also as we're learning, just really kind of understanding how important it is for our entrepreneurs to have this opportunity here in Orange County. And so we've been working hard to try to talk to, those in local, government positions or to spread the word about MEHKO so that we can grow more awareness and we can grow more interest in bringing this to Orange County, right? And so what we have done so far is we've talk to certain supervisors in Orange County in their offices and talk to them about MEHKO. And there's been interest, but then there's also been some obstacles that have come up as well. And so while that was our first path, to talk to, our local government officials, we're now trying to, connect to the entrepreneurs, right? To you who are our CIELO clients, or perhaps, you're new to CIELO, right? But you are an entrepreneur and you live in that role, right? To spread the word, and to increase community around this project about MEHKO, especially if this is something that you know that you want and you need as a food business.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Gabby, for sharing. So now we're going to go through the presentation. As she mentioned, this is a legislation that was passed in 2018 through the Homemade Food Operations Act, and that has allowed for MEHKOs to be in California. And as she mentioned, it's not permitted here in Orange County, and that vote is done through the Board of Supervisors. So the Board of Supervisors in Orange County has to opt into a MEHKOs program. Um, and it is already in 17 other counties, and here's some of them. It just passed in Los Angeles back in May. Um, and now they're, legal. Also, it's a way through legalizing like street vending, and they have a lot of programs going on. So we're seeing how MEHKOs is being able to allow a lot of individuals to progressively or go in formally into like the food business. So some of the benefits that it includes is going to be like inclusion, incubation, and innovation, and we'll go through what that looks like. So through inclusion, it'll allow for like an affordable entry into the culinary industry for a lot of folks. Going into food is really expensive. Accessing commercial kitchens is really expensive. Brick and mortars are expensive. It's not accessible. And MEHKOs would allow for, under um, served communities, minorities, BIPOC communities, and immigrant communities. I think especially right now during the times that we're living in, immigrant communities are able to safely have a food business in their homes if Orange County were to have MEHKOs. And then it also empowers individuals who are unable to enter the workforce. So, caretakers, mothers, etc. If they're able to, not work in the workforce and have a small business, they're able to make an income and a living for themselves here in Orange County. And then the term legally is in there that it allows already those cooking illegally. We use like not formalized, but it allows for those who are already doing this. We already know a lot of individuals have food business to then be able to access small business resources, have food safety training, give them the option to be able to legally and formally have like a small business. So it would allow for a lot of individuals and folks to partake in the formal food economy. And then for incubation, as we know, MEHKOs are kind of like a pathway into like different spaces. So if some individuals start off like they want to have a food business and they want to go straight into the kitchen, most of those businesses do tend to fail because there's not a lot of, knowledge in like the small business space. However, MEHKOs would allow individuals to test out what their menus could look like, to test out what their costs will be looking like, and then for them to be able to scale up into commercial kitchens, into brick and mortar establishments. So this allows for minimal overhead expense as compared to going straight into commercial kitchens or the brick and mortar space. I'll pass this over to Gabby.
Thank you. So, we kind of wanted to outline like where MEHKO would fit in when we think about the different, paths that one could, take or scale as they're growing their small business, their food business, right? So typically kind of a first step as a new food business where one might consider starting is with a cottage food business. And so that's kind of the more basic, least expensive path for a food business to start. However, oftentimes what has come up with, the clients we work with in CIELO is that they'd like to do that, but what they have in mind for their menu, what they want to sell, their products are not in the list of approved foods that cottage food permits in the home or in the home kitchen. There are specific things that they will permit, and there are things that they don't permit. For example, using meat fillings or meat of any kind, using certain dairy products and things like that, right? So that can really limit a food business. And so that's kind of a con to a cottage food business, and where a lot of those food businesses have reached obstacles. I'm before I go to MEHKO, I'm going to skip to the right here. So commercial food kitchen, right? Right now, what it looks like is if a business cannot be a cottage food because their menu is not aligned with the approved list, then typically kind of the next step for our food businesses right now in Orange County is that they will need to rent kitchen space at a commercial food kitchen because they're using ingredients that are not again permitted on the cottage food, right? So that takes it from like a smaller scale business with minimal expenses to already being at a potentially bigger scale with a lot bigger expenses because you're paying for the rent of the kitchen, the utilities, you're paying for all the permits that are necessary there, right? And so it can be a big jump, and it can feel like a big jump for the food businesses, right? And um, so that's kind of how it is right now. MEHKO would fit in the middle. It'd kind of be that step in between, right? So MEHKO again is kind of both of these combined in a way. It's a kind of commercial kitchen and practicing as a commercial kitchen, but in the home, similar like a cottage food business. But with MEHKO, you would have a lot more available to you with your menu, right? You would be permitted more compared to cottage food. So the pro is, you can cook things that cottage food would not allow you to, and it's also less expensive than running a commercial kitchen. So that's where we've noticed that MEHKO is really needed because it's kind of that step before that commercial food kitchen, especially if your ingredients are not permitted as a cottage food.
Thank you, Gabby. So yeah, as she mentioned, it's like the step before scaling up. And so here you also kind of see what a cost breakdown looks like compared to your brick and mortar, your food truck, your commercial kitchen. It's way below the amount to launch Amico would cost less than $1,000 as compared to going straight into a commercial kitchen, which is an average of $45,000. SoCal prices are really high. And so Micos would allow for a lot of individuals to have access to the food culinary space. Um, and for innovation, it provides like policy solutions and it strengthens community stability. So again, being able to work safe from home, it's a legal and accessible way to earn income from home, which is really needed right now as we have, immigration rates that people have to, like hide from and are a lot of people staying from home and they're losing income from street vending or they're losing income from their traditional workforce. So this is a pathway for individuals to still an income from their home. It also supports housing instability. So, here in Orange County, the housing costs is only continue to go up, and so individuals need extra income to make a living, and this is another pathway in addition to their current workforce or their other small business that they may have. And then just better food access. So there's a lot of food deserts that are found within vulnerable, underserved communities, and so this would strengthen the local food economy by providing fresh, affordable, and most importantly, culturally meaningful meals. I think going back to Gabby's point of a lot of, individuals, they're restricted from the Cottage Food Act because culturally it doesn't reflect a non how do I say it? Like a like a non
Kind of European,
yeah,
not
Eurocentric plan, right? Versus a lot of us want culturally relevant food that um, wouldn't fit in that space, but it will fit through MEHKOs. So MEHKOs fosters innovation in those ways. And so again, as we've mentioned, MEHKOs has been operating in a lot of other counties already, and there's a lot of people who have their businesses who have been able to scale up into the brick and mortar space who are thriving. And it's showcased through, like a diverse demographic. So Miko's allows, women, people of color, immigrants to thrive in the culinary space. Again, it's culturally rooted businesses. So, in your traditional brick and mortars, you are kind of restricted a little bit to the type of food that you're able to sell, but through your Miko business, you can change your menu, I believe, like pretty frequently and, try out different dishes, test out new ideas. Um, and so one other, caregiving, I think that one is also really important. A lot of caregivers, have to stop working. And again, this is an extra income for them. So we know that Mikos is important for all of our community. And here are some of those faces around California that have been thriving. Let's see. I think this is where I pass it over to Gabby.
yeah. Okay. So there are, regulations to Miko's, and a lot of it is grounded in kind of keeping up with the health and the safety of running as a Miko business. And so there are these caps, right? There are these caps to protect the food safety. And a lot of it is tied to making sure that that food business, that Miko of that one home is not, cooking so many meals per day, right? There is a limit to how many meals per day one can be prepared, and that's 30. And then also through the week as well, 90 meals per week maximum, right? And then in terms of how much a Miko business is able to make within the year before there's that consideration of perhaps they need to get the commercial kitchen is 100,000 in annual gross revenue. And so again, these are kind of protections in place or swim lanes or kind of rules that are set in place to really make sure that there is that health and safety protection for Mikos, and also so that Mikos can coexist with brick and mortars, because there has been that concern from the traditional restaurant of, hey, we don't want that competition with those Mikos, right? And so this also allows for there to be that coexistence. Um, yes, I'm going to get to the question about the meal in this slide, actually. Yeah, thank you. So here's some more regulations. And again, this is just for the health and safety kind of precautions. So Mikos have three different ways of them being able to serve to customers. You can either dine in, you can create your own little restaurant in your own home. Like we've seen that
Yep.
actually. We've seen that in Los Angeles. I think recently there was like the first one that actually did it a year after Miko was approved. So yeah, you can really make your own little restaurants. You can dine in, you can take out, right? So people can take it out, or you can deliver what you prepare to your customers as well. Um, and then all food must be prepared, cooked, and served on the same day, and sold directly to the customer. So the person preparing the food or the MEHKO preparing the food needs to serve it directly to the customer or the person that is that's ordering it. Food from a MEHKO cannot be sold at an event or farmers market, and food from a MEHKO cannot be used for catering, right? So those would be two different ways of running a food business. So again, for the sake of health safety and like food safety, if you are going to be a MEHKO, you can only serve in those three ways. You cannot, prepare at home and then sell at a farmer's market. That wouldn't be allowed. A MEHKO must operate from a primary residence, not a vacation home. So the owner of that MEHKO needs to be using, that needs to be their home. And only one permit is allowed per household, like per home. Um, like similar to other ways of being a food business, like cottage food or even a commercial kitchen, with a MEHKO, you also have to go through food safety training. So that's again aligning with all of the other expectations with the current food operations, right? So the MEHKO operator, the owner, would also need to get that food handler or manager certificate and pass that training. Again, there's a really big emphasis and importance on food safety and health. Delivery to the customer must be done by the owner, a family, or a household member or employee of the MEHKO. Third-party delivery apps, like DoorDash, for example, cannot be used by a MEHKO. Again, it's from one hand to another, right? Again, just to make sure that there aren't things kind of intercepting that can affect the safety and the health of the food. A meal is defined as a quantity of food meant for one person, one sitting, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a MEHKO, what you prepare needs to be in a meal format. You can do any, food item. It can just be a drink, or it can be a simple dessert, or it can be a simple kind of snack or things like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be a meal. It could be standalone items as well. And then lastly, a MEHKO, there are certain things that MEHKO would not allow in terms of ingredients or what you're serving, just because again, health and safety. This list is a lot, shorter compared to cottage food. So what they don't allow is raw oysters using THC or CBD, homemade ice cream, raw milk, and raw milk products, foods that require a HACCP plan. So these are some of the regulations that are important for MEHKOs to make sure that that food health and safety is accounted for.
Okay. Awesome. Are there any questions on the chat for you to go over?
Um,
Yeah. I had a question.
Go ahead, Leo.
So would I be able to sell like smoked brisket or like smoked foods?
Yes.
mhm,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Let's see. There's at least a few in LA. I believe there's an Indian spot, a Palestinian spot. Yes, I saw the
Yeah,
video
I
of the
saw the
Palestinian spot.
Palestinian. I
It
really
was
want to go
great.
to that one.
And a Mexican spot, and I think they're all in a similar neighborhood, like Inglewood or something. I wish I knew their names because their food looks so good. Yeah, so now we're seeing, because it's been a year since LA County opted into MEHKO, we're seeing kind of now the effects of that, or the results of that. And so, like Asha said, there are some of those dine-in MEHKO, similar type restaurants that are popping up. Okay. And then did I answer the question about, is there a definition of what consists of one meal? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right. So we already talked a little bit about this, but this is kind of a comparison of how MEHKOs interact with other permits. So we've talked about the cottage food. And then some things we haven't talked about is the compact mobile food operation. So that's like a side cart or a food cart or like a push cart, right? And then also catering. Um, and so just this is some good information to look into in terms of like what are the differences between, cottage food and how it interacts with MEHKO, and then the compact food like a street cart, how it interacts with MEHKO, and then catering as well. And so just for example, if we look at, compact mobile food operation, because we do see a lot of those around us, right? With approval, a MEHKO can serve as this type of business, this street cart, for up to two of them, right? So basically, if you are a MEHKO, if you have your operation at home, and you have your MEHKO permit for that home, you can use that for up to two different street carts or food carts. I don't know why that's doing that. Sorry. Um, as long as they are owned and operated by that same MEHKO, by that same owner. Okay. Um, let's see. And then similar, there are caps for MEHKOs that sell via, a street cart. And the benefit is there is a little bit more flexibility with a street cart, 80 meals per day, versus 30, and then 200 per week versus I think it was 100, and then a little bit more flexibility with what you're able to earn yearly. Okay. So this is kind of where we have our, call to action, or if you're feeling kind of energized by this, if you're feeling like, why don't we have this in Orange County? We need this in Orange County, and you want to be, a part of this with us. You want to support us with this. You want to let the people know, the community know that we need this. This is important. We're going to share kind of some ways to support MEHKO here in Orange County. Okay. So we have, this letter drafted that's already kind of populated with all this information with an email with a message that can be sent directly to the OC Board of Supervisors to urge them and to encourage them that we need MEHKO here, right? And so the more emails that are sent to them, the more awareness is increasing, the more pressure is increasing, and that, wow, so many people are asking for this or saying that they need this, right? So if you scan the QR code, that'll take you to the letter. You just put in your name, and then I think you press send, and then it automatically sends. So that's one way. And we're trying to get so many emails sent or people kind of helping us with that.
Okay. Can you also send that in the chat?
Yeah, I'll have to link it in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll also send it in the follow-up email afterwards.
Still recording, right?
Okay. So the other way that you can support is basically if you are again feeling like you are a food business or even not a food business, right? And you feel like this is something that should be available here in Orange County and you want to share your perspective, you want to share your story, you can scan the code here to share, right? And to support in that way as well. And so that is another opportunity. You can do one or both. Both would be great.
Yes, please do both. And then we'll link them in the chat, and again, we'll send them in the email. So those are two ways right now that you can support us, and right now we'll get a little bit more conversation of like what are other ways that we can tap in. Um, do you want me to finish out, Gabby, or do you want to finish out?
Oh, sorry. Um, I was looking at the questions. So basically, this presentation and who we're working with, is this organization called Cook Alliance. This presentation was, kind of created by them. They've done a lot of research in this, know a lot about MEHKOs. And so if you would like to, kind of connect with them or just learn a little bit more about the work that they're doing, Lauren is our direct contact. She's the outreach and advocacy director. And then there are the socials as well. So the Cook Alliance has been like a really great partner and resource for us as we've been moving through this.
Yes.
And then this is our contact information, in case you have any more questions or, have different ideas. Related to, how we can bring this to Orange County, right? If there are certain kind of light bulb ideas that you're having of like, oh, have you thought about this? Have we done this? Or how can I be further involved besides the two options that you've shared, right? You can email Joanna and I, and we would be happy to connect.
So yeah, that's all our presentation. I'm gonna stop sharing, so that now we kind of are in community and just, if anyone has any other questions, Gabby and I are here to answer those. If anyone wants to share what their experience is like, why you think MEHKOs is important, yeah, opening up the space for, ideas of what else can we do as a in the movement to make sure that MEHKOs comes here to Orange County. Something that Gabby and I might be looking at is maybe doing a city program if, Orange County's landscape can tend to be kind of hard to gauge since but depending on the city, some people don't want MEHKOs, some people do want MEHKOs, but we're hoping that it can come to the entire county. But yeah, opening up the space if anyone has any thoughts, questions, anything.
Okay.
So,
Hi, Gab. I'm sorry. This is Veronique. I had a question in the chat for you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Veronique.
You're welcome.
Will there be any types of restrictions running as a MEHKO operator if you are living in an affordable housing community? Do we know much about that, Joanna?
No, I think that that kind of comes with the policies that each affordable housing building or area has. I know that sometimes you can't make a certain amount, but what I've heard from LA is people who do still live in affordable housing are still being able to operate with the MEHKO. They just have like certain restrictions. And it's also a matter of talking with the landlord. And seeing what their policies are on that end.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Okay, let's see. We have one in Spanish. Oh wait, sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna read it in Spanish so we can translate. Hola, mi pregunta acerca es de operar café en la calle. Yo vivo en Norwalk, en LA County. ¿Qué permiso necesito si voy a solicitar uno? También quisiera empezar a crear una website. Okay, a website. But basically, if you're in LA County or in Norwalk and you want to operate as a street cart, as a MEHKO, what permit or how would you get started with that?
Yeah, so you would go through the city, or not the city, through the county. They'll have the MEHKO permit up on their website, or also if you go into like their building, and it's just a matter of filling it out, going through the process. There's also another organization in LA called Econ PPL, something along those lines, and I'll send it in the follow-up email. They hold like weekly sessions for individuals to learn about how to get MEHKO permits in LA County. So they'll be able to support you accessing that permit through them. Like
And
again, like as we mentioned, we don't necessarily work directly with LA County. We're mainly focused in OC. So that
yeah. And Marilu, just to address the rest of your question about help with a website, if you can just use the emails that we provided in the presentation to send us an email with your request for this help, okay? Let's see.
Nayeli, you can unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Nayeli.
Hola, buenas
Vivo
tardes.
en la ciudad de Anaheim. Mi pregunta es, bueno, ahorita estaba escuchando la presentación, ¿verdad? Pero he escuchado de algunas personas que manejan su negocio de repostería, pasteles, otros de tamales, y pues a lo que me han dicho, ellos tienen como licencias para operar ese tipo de negocios. Entonces, ¿sería algo parecido o si se puede aquí en este condado, algo parecido si quisiera hacer?
Okay. So what Nayeli was asking is that she's heard from other individuals that they have like their cake business or tamal business already operating, and she's asking if that is available to do here. She's from Anaheim, so Orange County. And so correct me if I'm wrong, Gabby, but no, the answer is like as amigos, if you want to do like if you're cooking from home, you're not able to sell those products because they don't fall within the cottage food. However, if they're operating through a commercial kitchen or if they have a brick and mortar, then they're able to operate and sell those food items with like the permits that she mentioned that they have.
La mochila.
But most will be operating informally, so like under the table, um, and through I think through catering, correct, Gabby?
Yeah, if it's informal. But
Yeah.
I guess I was wondering with her question if she was sharing how she knows people currently in Orange County that are selling, yeah, that are selling items like cakes and selling tamales. You could do that as a cottage food, but again, it depends on the ingredients that you're using. And if the ingredients are approved by the cottage food list, right? Tamales can be sold, but it would only be allowed as a cottage food with fruit filling, not with like meat, right? And so with cakes as well, it depends on kind of the dairy and those ingredients that you're using. If you find that the ingredients that you're using for your business, again, is not in that cottage food approved list of ingredients, then you would either think about, okay, am I going to continue as an informal food business without getting the permits and working under the table? Or if we had MEHKO here, you could consider, doing your business as MEHKO because then your ingredients would be permitted, right? But right now we don't have that. The next option for you, if you wanted to be formal to get your permits and to sell, meat-filled tamales, for example, you would need to get a commercial kitchen
Yeah.
or rent at a commercial kitchen and cook there.
Nayeli, ¿sí te respondimos la pregunta?
Joanna?
Yes, Jason?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm glad y'all are doing this because I'm actually a part of the Cook Alliance. I've been a part of it for a while, just trying to get this whole thing to Orange County. I've actually, and before CIELO, before I knew CIELO was on this, I had already started some conversations with my my district supervisor. So I'm definitely interested in helping whatever way I can with MEHKO because it's important. And I've been educating myself and being a part of the Cook Alliance and just learning more and figuring out what are best practices for getting MEHKO to Orange County. And I think one of the other things that we had talked about also with MEHKO is so like I have a food cottage permit, and so the amount that I can make from a food cottage permit versus the amount if I make for MEHKO, they're trying to figure out, where does that borderline go? So, for example, for a food cottage permit, I can make $75,000 a year with A permit, but I can make $150,000 a year with a B permit, and that's just for baking. But now MEHKO comes in; it's less for MEHKO, and so where does that? Where they're trying to figure out where does that conversation. Where does that line? Where does that line go? And with a food types permit, I'm actually able to use a third party delivery, so I can use Uber or Grubhub and all those things. Where MEHKO you can't. So yeah, kind of
Yeah. I think I think what's important to consider, right, is if you if your menu falls in the cottage food like yours just does, Jason, right? If you're allowed to have that permit and don't face that obstacle of, well, I want to, serve this type of food that's like meat, like smoked meats, for example, right? Or I want to do something else that involves the ingredients that aren't allowed in cottage food, then it's totally okay if you kind of remain as a cottage food, because again,
right.
then you kind of, like you said, you have that flexibility of being able to cook 75, batches versus, that cap of 30, and you are able to use the third party delivery apps, right? So
Right.
I think what's
Right.
important is really knowing what your situation
Right.
is,
Mhm.
what your obstacles are, what's kind of stopping you to like launch or scale or move forward, right? And kind of really knowing that and assessing what is the right option for you.
Right. And then also in terms of Serve Safe, it's just a shameless plug. I'm also a national certified Serve Safe examination proctor. So I'm able to proctor the exam for anybody who needs to take the exam as well.
Okay.
So,
Yay.
Thank you, Jason.
yep.
Rocio is asking us where she can get more information for MEHKO for Pomona, California. So Pomona is in LA County. So again, we'll find the link online, and we'll send you that link in the follow-up email, as well as the organizations in LA County that are supporting individuals getting MEHKOs there, as we are focused in OC, but we'll make sure to send that info over to you all. So if you are in LA County, you have access to it.
Are there any other questions or just kind of reflections on, how this could, live in Orange County, and like even if, this is something that we've already kind of felt has been missing, or any just, yeah, reactions or comments or just more expanded thoughts around it as entrepreneurs?
Hola, buenas tardes. Yo soy Elisea Ochoa, perdón que tengo lentes oscuros, ¿verdad? Pero se me
También.
perdieron mis lentes y esto también tiene en aumento. Yo no tengo restaurante, ¿verdad? Yo tengo un negocio de cuidado infantil en casa, aquí en el condado de Orange. Pero mi esposo siempre ha cocinado y siempre las compañeras dicen, ¿verdad? ¿Por qué tu esposo no vende comida? ¿Por qué no esto, el otro? Y cuando vi el correo electrónico que mandaron, dije, ¿verdad? Quiero entrar para escuchar y poderle platicar, pero como saben, estoy con el cuidado de niños y no pude entrar en tiempo y dije, bueno, voy a entrar a ver si alcanzo a escuchar algo, pero creo que la plática ya terminó, ya nada más están dando comentarios, ¿verdad?
Sí, pero sí estamos capturando la sesión y la vamos a mandar por correo electrónico, y también vamos a mandar la presentación por la parte que no estuvo. Sí.
Ah, perfecto. Ok, ok, muy bien. Porque sí, pues me interesaría escuchar más y sobre todo que mi esposo lo pudiera ver a ver si se anima, ¿verdad? Porque me gustaría hacer como un segundo negocio porque igual este negocio de los niños es bueno, ¿verdad? Yo voy a cumplir 20 años, pero también ya la edad empieza a decir, ¿verdad? Ya más cansado cuidar niños que, por ejemplo, ayudarle a mi esposo a preparar comida, ¿no?
Sí. Gracias,
Ok,
Elisa, y
muchas
felicidades en
gracias.
sus 20 años.
¿Mande?
Felicidades en sus 20 años.
Sí, ya los cumplo, si Dios quiere, en febrero del próximo año ya cumplimos 20 años. Y yo conocí a Cielo cuando estaban aquí con el SBDC por la Main
Ujú.
en la otra oficina cuando estaba Elizabeth Pech
Sí,
que
ajá.
no sé si todavía sigue por ahí Elizabeth, pero ya después me desconecté un poquito porque pues estamos en otras organizaciones también. Pero ahora que lo vi dije, oh, voy a entrar, me interesa esto.
Qué bueno.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
There was another question. Can we use the grill or patio oven with MEHKO?
I don't have the exact answer, so
Yeah.
we'll capture it and then we'll send it over to you. But I want to say yes in terms of when the annually you're gonna get an inspection. And if that's part of the inspection and it's like passed and it's set up the way it's supposed to be, then you should be able to use it. But we'll make sure to capture this question and then send it in the follow-up email.
Good question.
Okay. We do have about 4 minutes left. Any last outstanding questions or things to share?
Hi, it's Veronique again.
Hi, Veronique.
Hi. I think this is a great opportunity, and that we'll probably see more of our foodies, people that who've been wanting to do something, but just those questions or didn't want to get in trouble, or maybe they couldn't afford the commissary kitchens. I think this is a wonderful opportunity. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yes, we want it to come to OC too.
Can I make one more comment? I don't know if this answers, what's her name, Veronique? I don't know if this answers her question or not, but I have a housing voucher, and so I do my business from my apartment, and so I haven't had any problems at all in terms of my apartment manager, in fact, they encouraged it, and so they've signed off on whatever paper I need to sign off, and it's just the same as any other job. You have to pay, if you have a voucher, you have to pay 30% of your income. So that's the kind of, uh, you know, so it's just like a job. So I don't know if that answers her question or not.
Yes. Well, I was asking just in case there were people on here today that may have had that question, but didn't know how to ask it. So I
Mhm.
just thought I would throw it out. But yes, thank you.
Thank you
That's a
for
good
sharing,
question.
Jason. Rocio has another question. She's asking if Miko can cook pizzas or just cosas dulces. So, yes, you'll be able to cook things that are not just sweet. So pizzas, like Leo, he wants to do smoked meats. If you want to do like Mexican, like enchiladas, like so, any like a lot of different food
Mhm.
options that you'll be able to cook under Miko's.
Yeah. Just remember the list of things that aren't permitted are like the raw oysters, the raw milk or raw milk products, and THC, CBD. That's basically pretty much it in terms of what you can't do for Miko.
Yes, porque ella sabe cocinar cocina mexicana. Yeah, so we're hoping to see Rocio with Miko and selling some Mexican food, hopefully, soon. I think we're all done here in case there's no last minute comments or questions. Um, I think we're all set. Thank you so much. Again, we'll send the recording of this presentation. We'll send the presentation itself. We'll send over the information for Miko's in LA County. We'll answer that one question that Lorena posed. And then we'll send for how you can support, which is sending the letter to the Board of Supervisors and then sharing your story about Miko's. We'll send all of this. By the end of next week probably or by next week, but you'll have access to all of this information. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact Gabby or I, and then there's also Lauren with Cook Alliance that you can contact. But thank you so much everyone for being here with us today.
Thank you. It's a great
Thank you.
turnout.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Muchas gracias. Si no puse mi nombre en el chat, de todas maneras me va a llegar el correo, ¿verdad? Con la información.
Sí, si tú tuviste el link para entrar, tenemos tu nombre o tenemos tu correo electrónico para mandar la información.
Ah, perfecto. Ok, porque no puse mi nombre aquí en el chat. Muchas gracias. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Yes.
Let me stop recording. Okay. Bye, everyone. Okay. Thank you, Alicia,
You're
for
welcome. Have a
joining.
good one.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Have everybody.